My name is Nathan Weller, and I used to believe in happy endings. That was before I discovered my wife Monica had been rewriting our story without telling me. I'm a software architect, which means I spend my days solving problems and finding patterns others miss. Turns out, those skills work just as well on cheating spouses as they do on buggy code. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday morning in October. Monica was rushing around our suburban Portland kitchen, her blonde hair perfectly styled despite claiming she'd overslept. She grabbed her gym bag with one hand and her phone with the other, thumbs flying across the screen. "Who are you texting at 7 in the morning?" I asked, sipping my coffee. "Just Rhea. She's being dramatic about her divorce again." Monica didn't look up from her phone. "I'll be late tonight. Client dinner." Another client dinner. That made 3 this week. Either Monica's PR firm had suddenly become the hottest thing in Portland, or something else was heating up. "Which client?" I pressed. "The fitness startup. You know, the one with all the influencer marketing." She finally looked at me, her green eyes flashing with what I now recognize as guilt disguised as annoyance. "Why the interrogation, Nathan? Don't you trust me?" Trust. Such a loaded word. I trusted her to pick up our kids from school. I trusted her to handle the mortgage payments. I trusted her not to destroy our 16-year marriage for some muscle-bound trainer with more followers than brain cells. Apparently, I was batting 0 for 3. "Of course I trust you," I lied, watching her shoulders relax. "Have fun at your dinner." After Monica left, I sat in my home office, staring at my computer screen. Lines of code blurred together as my mind wandered. Our daughter Olivia, 16 and sharp as a blade, had mentioned seeing her mother's car at the gym during school hours. Our son Sam, 13 and quiet, like his old man, had asked why mom was always whispering on the phone. Kids notice everything. Adults just pretend they don't. I opened my laptop and did what any reasonable software architect would do. I started gathering data. Monica had left her iPad on the kitchen counter, still logged into her iCloud account. A few clicks later, I was looking at her text messages. What I found made my coffee taste like ash. The messages were explicit, not just emotionally intimate, but graphically detailed. Monica and someone named Derek had been sharing photos, making plans, and discussing things that made my stomach churn. The timestamps showed they'd been texting during family dinners, school events, even during our anniversary dinner last month. The worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was how casual they were about it. Derek complained about his apartment being too small. Monica suggested they use our house when I was at work. They laughed about how clueless I was, how easy it was to fool the computer nerd. Computer nerd, that's what my wife called me behind my back. I screenshot everything and saved it to an encrypted folder. Then I did something that would have made my old Boy Scout leader proud. I prepared. Over the next week, I became a detective in my own home. I installed discrete security cameras, the kind used for monitoring pets. I backed up Monica's phone data every night while she slept. I tracked her location using the family sharing feature she'd forgotten about. The pattern was clear. Monica would claim to be at work or with friends, but she was actually at Derek's apartment or meeting him at hotels. She was using our joint credit card to pay for lingerie I'd never seen and dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together. Derek Voss, personal trainer at Elite Fitness, Instagram influencer with 40,000 followers and the personality of a protein shake. I'd seen him around town, driving his lifted truck with vanity plates that read, "Gaines View." He was everything I wasn't: loud, flashy, and apparently irresistible to my wife. The breaking point came on a Friday evening. I was working late in my office when I heard Monica's key in the front door. She was supposed to be at her book club, but through my security camera, I watched her stumble in with Derek behind her. They were in my house, in my space. Derek was wearing one of my old college t-shirts, the one Monica claimed she'd donated to charity. I sat in my office listening to them laugh in my living room, and something cold settled in my chest. Not anger, not sadness. Something calculating and patient. Monica wanted to play games? Fine. But she'd picked the wrong opponent. I was a software architect. I built systems. I solved problems. I planned for every possible failure and designed elegant solutions. And right now, Monica and Derek had become my newest project. The next morning, Monica acted like nothing had happened. She made pancakes for the kids, kissed my cheek, and asked about my weekend plans with the same fake sweetness she'd been using for months. I'm thinking of doing some spring cleaning, I said, which wasn't technically a lie. I was definitely planning to clean house. That's nice, honey. Monica was already scrolling through her phone. I'll be out most of the day. Rhea and I are going shopping, then meeting Piper for drinks. Rhea and Piper, Monica's enablers. I'd done my research on them too. Rhea was going through a messy divorce and seemed to think all marriages were prisons. Piper was single, bitter, and constantly posting about how men ain't worth it on social media. Great influences for a married mother of two. Sounds fun, I said, and don't spend too much. Monica laughed. The sound sharp and fake. It's my money too, Nathan. Technically, she was right, but morally? Morally, she'd forfeited her claim to anything of ours the moment she brought Derek into our bed. After Monica left, I called my best friend Jules. We'd known each other since college, and he was one of the few people who'd always been straight with me. He was also an ex-cop, which meant he understood the importance of evidence. I need to show you something, I said when he arrived. Jules whistled low as I walked him through everything I'd discovered. The photos, the texts, the credit card statements, the security footage. Man, this is rough, he said. But you've got everything documented. What's your plan? I'm going to give her a chance to come clean, I said. Tonight, when she gets home, I'm going to ask her directly if there's anything she wants to tell me. Jules raised an eyebrow. And if she lies, then I stop playing defense and start playing offense. That evening, Monica came home late, claiming she'd lost track of time. Her lipstick was smudged, her hair was messier than when she'd left, and she smelled like cologne I didn't recognize. How was shopping? I asked. Great. Found some cute things. She held up a single small bag from a store I knew she hadn't been to. The credit card alert on my phone showed she'd actually spent the day at Derek's apartment complex. Monica, I said carefully, is there anything you want to tell me? Anything at all? She looked at me with those green eyes, and for a moment, I thought she might actually be honest. Then she smiled and shook her head. Like what? You're being weird, Nathan. I'm being weird? Yes. You've been acting paranoid lately, asking strange questions, watching me all the time. She moved closer, put her hand on my arm. Are you okay? Maybe you should talk to someone. Gaslighting. The classic cheater's move. Make the betrayed spouse think they're crazy. I'm fine, I said, just tired. Maybe we should take a vacation, Monica suggested. Just the two of us. Rekindle things. Rekindle. Like our marriage was a campfire that had accidentally gone out, instead of something she'd deliberately doused with gasoline. That sounds nice, I lied. Where were you thinking? Somewhere tropical? That resort in Cabo we talked about. The same resort she'd been researching for a trip with Derek. I'd seen the browser history. I'll look into it, I said. Monica smiled and kissed my cheek. I love you, Nathan. I know I've been busy with work lately, but you and the kids are everything to me. The performance was flawless. If I hadn't seen the evidence with my own eyes, I might have believed her. But I had seen it, and now I knew exactly who I was married to. That night, after Monica fell asleep, I sat in my office and opened a new document on my computer. At the top, I typed, Project Cleanup, Phase 1. Monica wanted to keep lying? Fine. But every lie she told was just more ammunition for what was coming. I started with her social media. Monica was proud of her online presence, carefully curating an image of the perfect wife and mother. She posted photos of family dinners, shared articles about work-life balance, and wrote heartfelt captions about how blessed she felt. It was all about to become very ironic. Using the evidence I'd gathered, I created a timeline of Monica's affair. Every lie, every deception, every moment she'd chosen Derek over our family. Then I cross-referenced it with her social media posts. On the day she'd posted a photo of our anniversary dinner with the caption, 16 years with my best friend, she'd sent Derek explicit photos in our bedroom. When she'd shared an article about the importance of trust in marriage, She'd been planning their next hotel meeting. Her Mother's Day post about being grateful for our beautiful family came just hours after she'd told Derek she was thinking about asking for a divorce. The hypocrisy was staggering, and it was all documented. I spent the next few days preparing. I opened a separate bank account and moved half our savings into it, which was completely legal since it was a joint account. I consulted with a lawyer about my options. I researched Derek's sponsors and business partnerships. Most importantly, I planned my approach. This wasn't about revenge in the traditional sense. This was about consequences. Monica had made choices, and choices have results. I was simply going to make sure those results were appropriate and proportional. On Wednesday evening, Monica announced she was going to a work conference in Seattle for the weekend. "It's last minute," she said, not meeting my eyes. "Big client opportunity." Her company's website showed no conferences that weekend. Derek's Instagram showed he was planning a spontaneous getaway to the coast. "That's great, honey," I said. "I'll hold down the fort here." Monica looked surprised by my easy acceptance. She'd probably expected questions or complaints. "You don't mind?" "Of course not. Your career's important." She smiled, the same fake smile she'd been giving me for months. "I'll make it up to you when I get back." "I'm counting on it," I said. And I was, because by the time Monica returned from her fake conference, everything was going to be different. Phase 1 was about to begin. Monica left for her conference on Friday morning, kissing me goodbye with lips that would be kissing Derek before noon. I waved from the doorway like the clueless husband she thought I was. Then I got to work. First stop, Elite Fitness. Derek worked there as a personal trainer, but more importantly, he was trying to build his brand as a fitness influencer. His Instagram was full of workout videos, supplement promotions, and motivational quotes that would make a fortune cookie writer cringe. I walked into the gym wearing workout clothes I'd bought specifically for this occasion. The place was exactly what I'd expected. Lots of chrome, loud music, and mirrors everywhere. Derek was easy to spot, leading a group fitness class near the front windows. He was taller than I'd expected, with the kind of overdeveloped muscles that suggested more time in the gym than in the real world. His hair was perfectly styled despite the workout, and he kept glancing at his phone between exercises, probably texting my wife. I signed up for a membership and a personal training session. The desk clerk, a young woman with pink hair and multiple piercings, seemed surprised when I requested Derek specifically. "He's pretty booked up," she said. "Are you sure you wouldn't prefer someone else?" "I've heard great things about Derek," I said. "I'll wait for an opening." She shrugged and put me on his waiting list. Then I sat in the lobby and watched Derek work with his clients. He was good at his job, I had to admit, encouraging without being pushy, knowledgeable about form and technique. He was also constantly checking his phone and taking selfies with clients who seemed more interested in his abs than his advice. After an hour of observation, I left and drove to my real destination, Monica's office. Cascade PR occupied the top 2 floors of a downtown building, and Monica was proud of her position as a senior account executive. She'd worked hard to get there, which made her current choices even more baffling. I parked across the street and called Monica's direct line. "Monica Weller's office," answered a voice I didn't recognize. "Hi, this is Nathan, Monica's husband. Is she available?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Weller. Monica is at the Seattle conference this weekend. Can I take a message?" "Seattle conference?" I put just enough confusion in my voice. "Which conference is that? She mentioned it, but I forgot the details." A pause. Actually, I'm not sure of the specific name. Would you like me to have her call you when she checks in?" "No, that's okay. I'll catch her on her cell." I hung up and sat back in my car. Monica's assistant didn't know about any conference because there wasn't one, which meant Monica had lied to her coworkers too. Interesting. I spent the rest of Friday gathering intelligence. I drove past Derek's apartment complex, noting the security cameras and visitor parking. I researched Monica's friends, mapping out their social connections and online presence. I even drove to the coastal resort, where Derek had posted photos, confirming they were there together. By Friday evening, I had a complete picture of Monica's deception. She'd lied to me, to our kids, to her coworkers, and probably to Derek about various details. She was juggling multiple false narratives, and like any complex system, it had vulnerabilities. Saturday morning, I put the first part of my plan into action. I started with social media. Using a fake account I'd created, I began following Derek's friends and gym colleagues. Then I started liking and commenting on old posts, drawing attention to the timeline of his relationship with Monica. It was subtle at first. A comment on a photo from 2 months ago, "Wasn't this when you were dating that married woman?" A like on a post about discretion being important in personal training. Derek's friends started noticing. They began asking questions in the comments. Who was the married woman? Was Derek getting involved in drama again? By Saturday afternoon, Derek's Instagram comments were full of speculation and gossip. He tried to delete the problematic comments, but screenshots had already been taken and shared. While Derek dealt with his social media crisis, I focused on Monica's professional reputation. I created a professional-looking email account and sent a message to Monica's boss, expressing concern about her recent behavior and work performance. I didn't mention the affair directly, but I included screenshots of her social media posts from times when she was supposed to be working. The email was carefully crafted to seem like it came from a concerned client who'd noticed inconsistencies in Monica's availability and professionalism. It raised questions without making accusations. By Sunday, when Monica returned from her fake conference, the foundation of her carefully constructed lies was already cracking. She came home glowing and relaxed, clearly having enjoyed her weekend with Derek. She hugged the kids and told elaborate stories about her conference sessions and networking events. "How was your weekend?" she asked me over dinner. "Quiet," I said. "Spent some time online, caught up on work. You know how it is." Monica nodded, already distracted by her phone. She was scrolling through messages, and I could see her expression changing as she read. "Everything okay?" I asked innocently. "Just some work stuff," she said, but her voice was tight. Apparently there were some questions about my availability on Friday. Questions? Nothing serious? Someone thought I was supposed to be in a meeting I wasn't actually scheduled for. She put her phone down, but her hands were shaking slightly. People get confused about schedules sometimes. "I'm sure it's nothing," I said. But it wasn't nothing, and we both knew it. Monica's web of lies was starting to unravel, and she was beginning to realize that maintaining multiple false narratives was harder than she'd thought. That night, after Monica went to bed, I received a text from Jules. "Saw some interesting drama on social media today. Your handiwork?" "Just getting started," I replied. "Be careful, man. Don't do anything that could backfire." "Don't worry. I'm not breaking any laws or doing anything unethical. I'm just making sure the truth has a chance to surface. And if Monica figures out it's you..." I looked at the security camera feed from our bedroom, where Monica was sleeping peacefully next to her phone, which was buzzing with increasingly frantic messages from Derek. Then, phase 2 begins. Monday morning brought the first real crack in Monica's facade. She came downstairs pale and shaky, clutching her phone like a lifeline. "Nathan," she said, her voice carefully controlled, "I need to go in early today. There's a situation at work." "What kind of situation?" "Just some confusion about client communications. Nothing major, but I need to clear it up." I nodded sympathetically while internally celebrating. My carefully planted seeds of doubt were beginning to sprout. After Monica left, I called in sick to work and drove to a coffee shop across from her office building. Through the windows, I could see the Cascade PR offices, and I wanted to observe the fallout from my weekend activities. Around 10 a.m., I spotted Monica through the office windows, sitting in what appeared to be a tense meeting with her boss and another executive. Even from a distance, her body language screamed stress. My phone buzzed with a text from Derek. "Babe, people are asking questions about us. We need to be more careful." Monica had added me to her phone's family sharing plan months ago, which meant I could see her messages if I knew where to look. Derek's text was followed by several others, each more panicked than the last. My gym buddies are making jokes about me and some married client. Someone posted screenshots of my DMs on the gym's Facebook page. This is getting out of hand. I sipped my coffee and watched Monica's office. She was pacing now, gesturing frantically while talking on the phone, probably trying to do damage control with Derek while simultaneously handling the questions at work. Around noon, Monica emerged from the building looking haggard. She got in her car and drove toward Elite Fitness, probably to have a crisis meeting with Derek. I followed at a safe distance. The confrontation in the gym parking lot was everything I'd hoped for. Monica and Derek stood beside his ridiculous truck, voices raised, arms gesturing wildly. Other gym members were starting to notice, some even taking photos. Derek kept pointing at his phone, probably showing Monica the social media drama. Monica was shaking her head, clearly trying to calm him down. But Derek was having none of it. Their body language told the whole story. What had been a fun, exciting affair was now becoming a liability for both of them. Derek's influencer brand was being damaged by association with a married woman, and Monica's professional reputation was under scrutiny. The argument lasted about 10 minutes before Monica stormed back to her car and drove off. Derek stood in the parking lot for a moment, then kicked his truck's tire in frustration. Phase 2 was working perfectly. That evening, Monica came home looking exhausted. She barely spoke during dinner, picking at her food while constantly checking her phone. "Rough day?" I asked. "Just busy," she said. "Lots of client issues." Our daughter Olivia, who'd inherited her mother's sharp instincts, was watching Monica carefully. "Mom, are you okay? You seem stressed." "I'm fine, honey, just work stuff." But Olivia wasn't convinced, and neither was Sam. Both kids kept glancing between their parents, sensing the tension even if they didn't understand its source. After dinner, Monica retreated to our bedroom, claiming she had calls to make. Through my security system, I watched her pace the room while talking on the phone, her voice too low to pick up clearly. Around 10 p.m., she came downstairs and found me in my office. "Nathan, we need to talk." I looked up from my computer, where I'd been monitoring the continued fallout from my weekend activities. Derek's Instagram followers were dropping steadily, and several gym members had posted their own stories about his unprofessional behavior. "What's on your mind?" I asked. Monica sat down across from my desk, and for a moment I thought she might actually confess everything. Her green eyes were tired, and she looked older than I'd seen her in years. "I think someone is trying to sabotage me at work," she said instead. "Sabotage you? Why would someone do that?" "I don't know. But there have been questions about my schedule, my client communications, my availability. Someone sent my boss screenshots of my social media posts, trying to make it look like I was posting during work hours." I frowned, playing the concerned husband perfectly. "That's terrible. Do you have any idea who might do something like that?" "No, but it's coordinated. This isn't random. Someone is deliberately trying to damage my reputation." She was right, of course, but she still had no idea who or why. "Have you considered that it might be related to a client dispute?" I suggested. "Maybe someone you turned down or a competitor trying to poach your accounts." Monica shook her head. "This feels personal, like someone knows details about my life that they shouldn't." She was getting closer to the truth, but she was still thinking like someone who believed her secrets were safe. "What can I do to help?" I asked. "I don't know. Maybe we should hire a private investigator, someone who can figure out who's behind this." The irony was beautiful. Monica wanted to hire someone to investigate the very behavior I was exposing. "That might be expensive," I said. "Are you sure it's that serious?" "Nathan, someone is trying to destroy my career. Yes, it's that serious." I reached across the desk and took her hand, noting how she flinched slightly at the contact. "Then we'll figure it out," I said, "whatever it takes." Monica squeezed my hand, and for a moment, I saw a flash of the woman I'd married 16 years ago. The woman who'd been ambitious and driven, but also loving and honest. That woman was gone, replaced by someone who could lie to my face while asking for my help to cover up her betrayal. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll never have to find out," I replied. Another lie to add to the collection we were both building. After Monica went to bed, I sat in my office and planned the next phase of my campaign. The social media pressure and workplace scrutiny were working, but they weren't enough. I needed something more direct, more personal. I needed to make Derek understand that actions have consequences, and I needed to make Monica realize that her choices affected more than just herself. Phase 3 was about to begin, and it was going to get much more interesting. Tuesday morning started with Monica getting a call that made her face go white. She answered her phone in the kitchen while making coffee, and I watched her expression crumble as she listened. What do you mean suspended? She said, her voice rising. On what grounds? I couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but Monica's responses told me everything I needed to know. That's ridiculous. I can explain all of those discrepancies. No, I understand the company's position, but how long? I see. Yes, I'll wait for HR to contact me. She hung up and stood staring at her phone, her hands shaking. What happened? I asked, though I already knew. I've been suspended pending an investigation into my work performance and professional conduct. Her voice was hollow. Someone provided evidence that I've been falsifying my schedule and using company resources for personal business. Evidence? What kind of evidence? Screenshots, time-stamped photos, credit card records, showing personal expenses during claimed business meetings. She looked at me with desperate eyes. Nathan, I swear I can explain everything. Then explain, I said simply. Monica opened her mouth, then closed it. She couldn't explain without admitting to the affair, and she wasn't ready to do that yet. It's complicated, she said finally. Try me. I've been helping a friend with some personal issues, someone who was going through a difficult time. Maybe I used poor judgment about when and how I helped them, but it wasn't malicious. Another lie. Even now, facing professional ruin, she couldn't tell me the truth. What kind of help? I pressed. Emotional support, counseling them through relationship problems. Sometimes that meant meeting them during work hours or using my company card for meals while we talked. The creativity was impressive. Monica was reframing her affair as a charity work. This friend, I said carefully, are they worth your career? Monica's face crumpled. I never thought it would go this far. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen, so what now? I don't know. I need to call my lawyer, figure out how to respond to the investigation. She looked at me pleadingly. Will you support me through this? Of course, I said. We're married. We face things together. The relief on her face was almost enough to make me feel guilty. Almost. After Monica left to meet with her lawyer, I drove to Elite Fitness. It was time to have a conversation with Derek. I found him in the weight room, working with a client who was clearly more interested in his Instagram stories than his workout routine. I waited until the session ended, then approached him. Derek Voss? He looked up from his phone where he was probably deleting more problematic comments. Up close, he was even more ridiculous than I'd imagined. Spray tan, perfectly white teeth, and the kind of muscle definition that required constant maintenance. Yeah, that's me. You looking for training? Actually, I wanted to talk to you about Monica Weller. His face went pale beneath the artificial tan. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. My wife. The one you've been having an affair with for the past 4 months. Derek looked around nervously, clearly aware that we were in a public space with potential witnesses. Look, man, I think there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, I said calmly. I have photos, text messages, credit card records, hotel receipts. I know about your weekend getaway, your meetings at her house, everything. Derek's jaw tightened. What do you want? I want you to understand something. Monica's losing her job because of the choices she made. Her reputation is destroyed, her professional relationships are ruined, and her family is falling apart. All because she decided you were worth it. That's not my fault, Derek said defensively. She made her own choices. You're right, she did. But so did you. And choices have consequences. I pulled out my phone and showed him a screenshot of his Instagram analytics. His follower count had dropped by nearly 10,000 over the past few days. Your brand is taking a hit too, I observed. Turns out, people don't want fitness advice from someone who can't maintain basic ethical boundaries. Derek's face flushed with anger. You can't prove I did anything wrong. I don't need to prove anything. The court of public opinion has already reached its verdict. I put my phone away and stepped closer. But I'm willing to make you a deal. What kind of deal? End it. Today. Tell Monica it's over, block her number, and stay away from my family. In return, I'll stop sharing information about your relationship. Derek laughed, but it sounded forced. You think you can blackmail me? I'm not blackmailing anyone. I'm simply offering you a chance to minimize the damage to your reputation and your business. Take it or leave it. And if I don't? I smiled and Derek took a step backward. Then I keep sharing the truth. Your gym clients, your Instagram followers, your sponsors, they all get to see exactly who Derek Voss really is. A man who destroys families for social media content. Derek stared at me for a long moment, and I could see him calculating the costs. His influencer career was already damaged. His reputation at the gym was suffering, and Monica was becoming a liability rather than an asset. Fine, he said finally. It's over. But Monica's not going to like it. That's between you and her, I said. But Derek? If I see you anywhere near my wife or my children again, this conversation will seem friendly compared to what comes next. I left Derek standing in the weight room and drove home feeling lighter than I had in weeks. The first domino had fallen. That evening, Monica came home devastated. Her lawyer had explained the seriousness of the investigation, and she was facing possible termination and difficulty finding another job in her field. I'm ruined, she said, collapsing onto our couch. 16 years of building my career, and it's all gone. It's not gone, I said, sitting beside her. It's damaged, but it's not gone. You can rebuild. How? Who's going to hire me after this? Maybe this is an opportunity to start fresh. Try something new. Monica laughed bitterly. Like what? I'm 37 years old with a mortgage and 2 kids. I can't start over. You're not starting over. You're moving forward. There's a difference. She looked at me with something that might have been gratitude. How are you being so calm about this? So supportive? Because I love you, I said, and because I believe people can change. It wasn't entirely a lie. I did love the woman I'd married, but that woman had made choices that changed everything. Monica's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it and her face crumpled. What is it? I asked. Derek. He says we need to stop seeing each other, that it's too risky with everything that's happening. I watched my wife's face as she read the message that ended her affair. There was pain there, but also something that looked like relief. I'm sorry, I said, though I wasn't sure what I was apologizing for. It's probably for the best, Monica said quietly. This whole situation has gotten out of hand. She was right. It had gotten completely out of hand, but we were finally approaching